Thank you for joining me at Evolutionary Energy Arts once again. What you are looking at is what was discovered in Texas from a sinkhole. Yep, just from a sinkhole. They discovered this huge cave underneath the ground. And this is in a residential area where people had no clue there was something so vast underneath them. And so you can see this happened in Round Rock, Texas, and it was a water leak that caused a sinkhole in Round Rock that led to a much bigger discovery Thursday. Now they say it was a water leak, but was it really? The roof of the cave collapsed on the 8400 block at Cambria Road in Williamson County, leaving 10 homes in the Bushy Creek neighborhood without water. Barriers have been put up around the sinkhole. Many of the photos of the sinkhole and the cave have now surfaced on social media. A video posted to Facebook by a woman who lives near the sinkhole shows a biologist holding what could either be a stalactite or stalagmite allegedly found in the cave. The biologist in the video can be heard saying part of the cave was flooded from the broken water line. And thus you could see the stalactite, stalagmite. So pretty unusual in that it's a really large cave, as you can see. And you can see the water down in there too. And perhaps the kicker was the water main break. Yet when I started to delve into this, and these are all from that one particular sinkhole, I discovered that there was actually a lot of other sinkholes being reported in the same areas in Texas. Round Rock, Austin, around San Antonio. Basically, in the same basic area, quite a few sinkholes. And maybe it's time of year. You know, rainfall, snowfall, melting snow. But it seems to be an unusually large amount of sinkholes going on. And I know we get a ton of them here in Florida as well. Kind of creepy when you think about it. But these sinkholes are popping up all over Texas. And there is a famous one too. It's the Devil's Sinkhole. And that is a massive one that leads to a massive, massive cave. As you can see how big it is looking from the floor on up. Very, very interesting. So what is exactly going on here? Is there any particular triggers for this? Now, the Devil's Sinkhole is off to the west of San Antonio. But basically what we're looking at is a line that extends going on up towards Dallas-Fort Worth, comes by Austin, and goes around San Antonio and then heads west. And this is the area of what looks to have been probably some sort of large, non-active volcanic outcropping from way in the past. But the area around here is where these sinkholes are popping up. Now, if you remember, just going back a month or two ago, the scientists were saying there's going to be a big upsurge in big earthquakes for 2018 as the Earth's rotation slows. Now they were talking about the Earth's rotation slowing, and we also know that we're going to have an upsurge in earthquakes because the shields are down, so more energy is coming into the Earth and going and interacting in with the core itself than is usual. And we also have a pole shift that is underway, and it's been underway for at least a few decades, probably longer than that. And the pole shift itself can last, it might last another 70 or 80 years. But there's a lot of evidence that shows once it speeds up exponentially and happens much faster, because it's related to the decrease in the magnetosphere. So the scientists here were talking about an upsurge in big earthquakes because of the Earth's rotation slowing down. And in case you're not aware of it, centrifugal force pushes out at the equator the most. So when the Earth's rotation slows down, the natural bulge that exists at the equator will shrink. And this will change the forces all around the world. The entire Earth's crust will have a different set of forces going on, which can cause some areas to expand and others to contract. And so all these articles are talking about the tiny slowdown in the Earth's rotation that's going to unleash massive earthquakes. As we know, the Earth has a molten core, and the crust basically rides on top of it. The other thing that is happening is with the pole shift, the actual geomagnetic north and south poles are changing and moving. The axis of the Earth is changing. It's shifting. There are those that think the entire crust will slip and slide and move into a new position. Some scientists disagree with this, but there are those that definitely think this is the case. And we know, the poles have been moving and they're going to flip. It's just a matter of time. It happens usually at fairly regular intervals, and we're more than double the overdue for the next one. It was supposed to happen 780,000 years ago, and usually they happen about every 200,000 to 300,000 years. The South Pole is now no longer over Antarctica at all. It's off the coast of Antarctica. It's moving slower than the North Pole, which is also shifting, and people disagree on where they're going to end up. But it seems like a few of them now are starting to point to the North Pole ending up somewhere off the coast of Brazil, and the South Pole possibly ending up somewhere off the coast of Indonesia. So you can imagine the whole planet shifting. And we do know, as we brought up before, that there are animals like woolly mammoths that were caught in some event that froze them so fast that the food they were eating was still frozen intact in their bellies. So when it shifts, it could happen so fast, instantaneously. And of course, if the crust does move like that, then we'll have just massive tidal waves. And the only place that's going to be safe is somewhere thousands of feet up. And even at that, it's hard to say what area is going to be warm and what area is going to be cold. Hopefully, we'll be able to have scientists pinpoint these things so that they'll know pretty much where the crust is going to stop moving and what's going to be a habitable area and what's not. So the thought is that these sinkholes and these water anomalies, all these water surges that we've had and water receding. You remember the Mississippi River being low in some spots? It's probably, in my opinion, due to the movement of the crust, creating openings that's draining the water out of certain areas. And then the water will rush in and eventually fill them in the case of the oceans. So what is the new globe going to look like? It's a very interesting thought to ponder. Where are safe areas? Perhaps we need to look deeper into that from the native traditions. Perhaps, as in the case of Noah, when God alerted him to get ready, make a boat, make the ark, the shit's about to hit the fan. Perhaps there are some ETs that are going to let people know, and perhaps some ETs already have let people know where these safe zones are. Because that could save a lot of lives, for sure, if we do have a crustal displacement pole shift, like Hapgood and Velikovsky talked of. So, what do you think? My thought is that is why we've had these water anomalies. That is why we've had all of a sudden the water disappears and then it'll eventually come back in. There is contraction and expansion in the crust. It's causing subterranean openings and water is being drained, and then eventually water level will restore itself. Perhaps some of the booms that we are hearing are due to what's going on inside the earth and in the crust itself as the poles are shifting. And this is an electric planet. There is magnetism created inside the earth and electricity. So this could cause also reactions in the various areas of the atmosphere. So maybe we are hearing some of that also transferring up into the atmosphere. I really would like to see what you guys are thinking about this. Please share your comments, your thoughts, questions, concerns. As always, like and support the channel. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and share with as many people as possible so we could wake other people up to what is going on in our beautiful world. And as always, I look forward to speaking with you guys again. Stay safe and take care, my friends.